Hi, everyone, and welcome to another special Talking Sound episode where George is with us. Welcome.
Hi.
And for those of you who don't know George, a lot of you probably do because you, at least, sometimes you've been quite active on the YouTube channel, written a lot of comments, and I saw some comments from you, and that's why I said maybe you want to be a guest, and so I'm so glad you're here again.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So with that said, just tell us your story, how the trouble sleeping began for you.
So mine began when I was a teenager, about 15, 16. So I'm 27 now. So I just randomly had strong fatigue. I couldn't get to school, like joint pain. And it just progressively got worse and worse that I couldn't even attend school. Just saw loads of different doctors. They didn't really know too much what that was going on. They just said, "Oh, it must be chronic fatigue," without actually properly diagnosing me. Then in 2013, I think, I went to a chronic fatigue unit and they said, "Yeah, you have chronic fatigue." And I've been trying.
Sorry to interrupt, George, but as part of this, was chronic fatigue, was the fatigue really the main thing, or was insomnia a big part of this as well?
It started just fatigue, but then the insomnia came after.
Got it.
But now, I wouldn't even say I have chronic fatigue in the traditional sense. I'd say the sleep or insomnia is the main thing, or it was. It's got a lot better thanks to you.
So glad it did. But sorry to interrupt you. So
Okay.
this was really affecting your life. You went into this chronic fatigue unit. What happened?
So they said, say you have to tick 10 boxes to have chronic fatigue. They say I tick 6 or 7. And I'm not a traditional kind of chronic fatigue patient. And their treatment didn't really work for me. It was called graded exercise therapy. I don't know if you know it. So it's basically building up from a baseline activity level.
Oh, you can slowly start little challenges, then okay.
Yeah, but it didn't really help because some days I'd be okay, other days I wouldn't be okay. It wouldn't matter what activity I did or didn't do. So that was about 2013. So by then I'd finished school, and then since then, until I kind of found you, I think in 2020, I think was the first time I found you. I was on and off with bad sleep, good sleep, then awful sleep. And no one really had an answer for me. I tried everything.
And was this stretches? Was it more like a random night here we didn't sleep, and then a random night here, or was it like a stretch of not sleeping, then a stretch where it was a little better?
Yeah, it was really random. I might have a good day, then a bad day. Good day, then a bad day. It might be a good week, then a bad week. Could be 5 days good, 1 day bad, or vice versa. It was just so random and just there was no pattern to it at all.
I hear it. And just for people tuning in, so they understand a little bit more, when it was like a bad night or a stretch of bad nights, was it that you hardly slept at all, or was it just waking up all the time, or what was it like?
Both, or I might wake up a lot, take ages to fall asleep. Sometimes I'd get to sleep and then stay asleep. Sometimes, I just wouldn't sleep at all. It's just crazy. Just I still have elements of it, but it's improved a lot. It's improved so much.
So glad, and we'll talk. That's where we're going to talk, of course, about what helped and how things have improved. But staying, going back to your story here, can you just mention, just for people tuning in here, what were the things that you tried during that time of real struggle?
Everything, all these things that don't really matter anymore, like caffeine consumption, the lights before bed, what I used to do. So I used to make the lights low before bed to make it sounds funny saying it now, to try and make myself sleep, or I wouldn't have caffeine after, I don't know, 2 p.m. or something. I tried the hot bath, the hot shower, relaxation videos. I can't think of everything I tried, but literally, if someone mentioned, "Oh, this might help," I would try it, and it wouldn't work. I also tried medication a little bit. But yeah, it didn't last. Like, it didn't help long term. It might help for one night. Then, as you mentioned, you might think, oh, it must have been that. Or I did that differently yesterday. I didn't eat this. I did eat that. I had a shower. Whatever. So you try and associate that with falling asleep, but it's got nothing to do with that, really.
Exactly. And just this is just for people tuning in who may be new to the channel. When you do something and then you sleep, it's not that makes you sleep. It's, if anything, you can have some idea that, oh, this will help, and that kind of that makes you try less. You kind of abandon effort. That can help, but the thing that we try doesn't make us sleep. Just again, for anyone tuning in here. And so we go through this like many years of this struggle. But in terms of like you graduated school and have you been able to work and function, and how are things life in general been?
Okay, so after school, I finished school. I didn't get the grades, that's like high grades that I hoped for. But that is what it is. But then I went to work straight away. And then yeah, it did affect my work quite a lot. As you can imagine, being tired all the time.
Absolutely.
And I did shift work as well, so there was like even more kind of pressure as well to be up at a certain time, stay awake to a certain time with no kind of pattern.
Yeah, no, that's and now when I hear that when I hear someone that had this struggle and did shift work, my first thought becomes like, that's really brave of you. It must have been scary to do shift work having had this trouble sleeping, or?
Yeah, definitely. But I was working in the gym, so it's kind of like it's just how the job is.
Oh, okay.
Got it. Yeah, so then a few years ago, I decided to become a physio. So I'm now in my last year of my physio degree.
Well done.
Thank you.
It's so nice to hear that.
But uni's been tough as well, because I started in 2019. So it was before I found your channel.
Yeah, tell us about that. So it was I mean, again, like this, to me, it's impressive. Like you still did this despite the struggle, but it was hard. Tell us a little bit about that.
Where should I start? Sorry, my camera's being a bit. Okay. Yeah, so started uni in 2019. Obviously, being a physio degree is very like hands-on, very practical. So it's not like even if you're tired, you can just stay at home and do your essays or whatever. Like some other degrees, have to go in quite a lot and do like practice the skills to be a physio. I just forced myself in a lot. Some days I did have to miss because I was just too fatigued. But I think it's just the mindset is the most important thing, because like now I can force myself to do something and then I'll sleep that night because I have a different mindset. But back then I was just so maybe like stressed out, so trying to control my sleep. So like sleep is everything, trying to control, and I can't do this, I can't do that, I need to do this, and it doesn't work.
It does not work, exactly. It's so true, and we want to hear all about exactly this, of course. But just I guess we already have a pretty good picture of what's happened, what the struggle was like, and then you in 2020 or so you found this YouTube channel. Tell us how you found it and how your immediate reaction was.
I can't actually remember exactly how I found it. I think it was probably just through YouTube, searching sleep videos or something of how to try and make yourself sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I remember posting something about, I can't even remember the author's name. It was about a book.
Oh, one of the sleep, maybe Sasha Stevens or Guy Meadows or something.
I think Matt Walker. Is that his name?
Yeah, Matt Walker. Okay.
And then you were like, "Oh, this guy, this book isn't very good, to be honest. I hear all the, because some of the things he recommends are like taking a bath before you sleep." So I was like, "Okay, I'll listen to this guy." Started watching your videos, and yeah, they were just really helpful. It's been a long journey, but slowly but surely it's turning.
Getting easier. So glad to hear this. And if we could just talk about, like you already mentioned, like the, when we try to control sleep, it becomes harder. When we sort of go towards less control and letting it be, things get easier. Seems like, was that kind of one of the big insights for you?
Yeah, that's the main one, I think. gas and brake model, you know, I'm always talking about that, always commenting on your videos about gas and brake model. Just letting go of it. It's seriously all you need to do. Because
Yeah,
it's just the control, like, oh, I can't sleep because I've done this, or if I do this, I won't be able to sleep, or I have to do this, like take a medication or have your hot bath or whatever to sleep. You don't need to do any of that.
and those things, those kind of like very obvious sleep efforts that pretty much everyone has gone through that. Like, you know, was it fairly easy for you to start letting go of those, or was it kind of like little by little you let go of those?
No, it was little by little. So it was just gradually, slowly but surely, picking up new habits. One thing I did quite a lot, even probably late into last year, was checking my phone when I got up. Not checking my phone, checking the time.
Okay.
Which that was just a really bad habit that I picked up, and I still kind of just did it sometimes, just automatically. Like I'd get up, and even though I know that I shouldn't have checked the time, I just did it, and I was like, oh, why did I check the time? And I don't do that now. I don't do that now at all.
You don't. Okay, very nice, very nice. And did it just kind of like, did that habit sort of just gradually fade off, or was it a time where you're like, okay, I'm just not going to do it anymore?
Yeah, it just gradually faded away. But I was like, I need to not do this. And then
That's
sorry,
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I had a watch in my phone, a watch in my room, and the watch actually broke as well. But I didn't realize until a while after, because it was the exact same time that I kept checking and I was like, that's weird. And then a few days later, I was like, oh, it's broken.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of smiling because so many people ask me like, why, Daniel, is it that I wake up the exact same time every night? And maybe now I should be like, well, first of all, make sure that your watch isn't broken.
Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
before then, it was kind of like on and off. Like one night, I think, oh, I haven't slept. Let me check the time. Like I'd kind of, if I hadn't slept or think that I hadn't slept, I would fall back into that habit of, oh, I need to check the time. I need to control it. I need to know what time it is to try and force myself to sleep, which is silly, but it's gradually faded away, and yeah, it's much better.
That's so nice to hear. And I just want to say this to people that are tuning in here, that often, people ask like, how can I change this? And so often it's just like, when you're aware that this is probably not helpful for me, you just aware of that, then with time those habits sort of fade away, because the brain kind of learns that this isn't helpful for me, and then it kind of lets go of them. So if anyone hear this, I think it's nice to hear that it just kind of faded by itself for you. So that's super nice.
Yeah, it's just that whole mindset, just let go, stop trying to control it, and eventually, like, I think mine's a lot longer. My my progress has been a lot longer than most people's. So
Yeah. So, and that's also so nice to hear that one of the common kind of frustrations is that somebody hears like, oh, this person, it only took 2 months and they were fine, etc. But for you, it's been sort of like you found it 2020 somewhere. Now it's 2022. So it's been many months of do you find that it was kind of like it did sort of, you could see that things were getting better, or was it a lot like, oh no, now like was it very bumpy, or was it sort of, you could see that things were getting better overall?
up until recently, so probably the last few months is when I've noticed overall it's been better. Before then, it was very bumpy. Like I remember commenting in some videos that, oh, I've had these like 2 weeks of better sleep, but now I've had 2 bad weeks again. Like, what's happening? And you'll be saying like, it's good that you've had 2 good weeks. Just need to like keep it up and just keep doing not do anything really.
Exactly. All right. And again, I think I know what you're going to say here, but what was there a certain kind of insight or something that clicked, you think, like a few months ago, or was it again more of the gradual fading of the struggle?
More of the gradual fading. It's just that, yeah, just keep that habit of not doing something, not worrying about making sure you're doing whatever you think you need to do to sleep, or checking the time, or stop trying to control it and just let it go, and it will come to you basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so tricky when, and I'm so glad you're here for this reason, because so many people out there probably have been tuning in for like many months, and they're still kind of like very yo-yo. Things are kind of like zigzagging. But yeah, even though it doesn't feel like it, you're still learning. Like your brain is still absorbing things, and you will get where you want to be. Just like you have seen things get easier, George. And now I really want to ask you about this one. So um, as you know, I'm all about sleep and insomnia. That's sort of my territory, but I often find parallels to other things, and one is fatigue. So just generally speaking, have you found things that have helped, fatigue wise from this kind of struggle with sleep as well? Or what are your thoughts on this?
So yeah, two good things that I would say you need to do, like good diet and exercise. Like they just help so much. Like I find if I'm not eating properly or not like doing exercise, well, one, it makes my sleep worse, and two, my fatigue is worse. Like they're all just like good habits. If you just put them all together, they build up, and that you get momentum. Like it's not just one night or two good nights here and there. It's like you get whole weeks. Then you're like, okay, get 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a whole month of good sleep. And the more that happens, the more you realize what you're doing is working, or what you're not doing is working. And then even if you do have bad nights of sleep, you like it's not in your mind to try and control it. You just let it go, and you just deal with it. You get on with it. You get through it, and you're like, there's no grizzly bear here. And yeah, you just then you'll sleep fine the next day, or the next week, and the more you do that, the more the days and weeks add up.
Yeah, no, I think, just again, clarification for anyone that's tuning in here. I personally think my diet is pretty good, and I try to run every day. I think that's just kind of, common sense that it makes us feel better, right? But it's not like doing that will control our sleep, but it's just general. I think it just helps us feel better, right? Would you agree to that?
Yeah, if you're trying to say work out late at night or go for a run to try and make yourself sleep, then no. But just in general, being active and eating well.
Yeah.
Just because that's something I like. I don't know too much about it, but like eating bad food obviously isn't good for you. And so if you're eating all this food with all these like toxins and sugar, like just overall, it might not help you. Like some people, it might not, bother. But for me, I find it definitely does.
Absolutely. And going back to like the fatigue that had such a big impact, when you were younger, to what degree does it impact your life now?
It's still there somewhat. Like I'm still on my journey of like good sleep every night, but it just doesn't affect me in the same way. So if I have a bad night, whatever I have to do the next day, I just kind of deal with it and get on with it, and it's fine. Like I know I'm tired, really tired, but I just carry on through the day, and then that night I'll sleep, and the next day I'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas
And
before,
yeah, tell me.
so before it would just be like, oh, I've had a bad night's sleep, everything's bad, let me control it, I can't do anything, and then that night you don't sleep again, and then it just carries on like that.
Exactly. I was going to say something like that. It's the reaction that really matters, because we all will have like a night of little sleep. And if we then start blaming ourselves or trying to control it, then there's kind of spin-off of that. Then it continues to be struggle. But if we, as you said, let that be, then there's no kind of spin-off or no, reaction to the reaction to the reaction, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
So I would say like, if you would maybe think of yourself, I don't know, a couple of years ago when it was a real struggle, and you could kind of say something to yourself, what would you pick?
What would I pick to say to myself? Probably just let go. Just let go of trying to control everything. There's nothing wrong. Like, because I used to think that there was something wrong with me. So just that there's nothing wrong with me, and just follow the gas and brake model. It's so simple, but it's so effective, at least for me. So that's what I would say.
Wonderful. So nice. And I just want to say thanks for being here, and thanks for, like, you know, all the nice comments you've written on the channel, everything. And stay in touch.
Yeah, well, thank you to you as well. It's your work that's helped me. So
wonderful to hear. Thanks again, George, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
bye.
Okay. Bye bye now.